All right, so that was a pretty good little lab that we just did with the looking up people on the PIPL, Vitellius, and EMAPS, which was EMAPS Plus, which was quite interesting. Certainly, not only can you do it for people, but we could also do it for anything and everything that's out there on the interwebs. And specifically, we could go out and gather information about companies, maybe to see if we want to buy stock in the company. Traditionally, that is something that people do. Well, you can also figure out if you have enough information and make some interesting predictions on whether or not things are going to actually make money or lose money based off of some of the key events that have happened in that particular company. So there's a couple of interesting things that we're going to go through and do here. One's going to be who it is, and the other's going to be DNS. Why are these two important is the first question I'm going to ask. And then above that, if you just look at the third bullet here, the competitive intelligence gathering, why is that important? I mean, who cares about competitive intelligence? I mean, what the heck does that mean, and why is that important?
I guess whoever has the most recent intelligence.
Whoever's the most intelligent wins?
Whoever has the most recent and viable intelligence.
All right, so let's just give an example. Let's say that you make a radio, and you may have that radio or maybe a wireless device is being sold to a customer over here on the Arsenal for $150,000. Let's just say, okay. And then I come in and I offer a similar device that does a lot of the same thing, but I want to beat you, so I somehow maybe social engineer, or maybe go look and see past performance on government contracts for the information that's available that I can request and get, and find out how much certain companies have actually bought that particular device for, or agencies or entities. And then let's just say I'm the lowest price technically acceptable, and I offer something comparable, but now I have a little bit of intelligence and I know what you charge for that device. And now I'm going to say, you know what, instead of $150K, we'll give it to you $140. And because it's comparable and I have a little bit of intelligence, now I can go and hopefully win that bid just based off of that. Now, how would we go about gathering that information? What other tools could we use out there for that? What do you guys think? Are there anything that you guys use or?
Chamber of Commerce, and other public, Better Business Bureau, other databases.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of them out there. News articles.
White papers.
Anything somebody's published, or they have some researchers on staff.
And even on their own websites, they're advertising, or news. This is what we've got.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes employees will brag about some of the things they're doing, either via social media or collaborative environments.
Collaborative environments. Yeah. All right, so let's go in and do a quick exercise here and examine a site. If we go out to, let me just minimize this real quick, and we go out and just check out a website real quick. In this particular case, we're going to go out to netcraft.com. Page 90, exercise 4.2 in your book. So if you just look at this right here and think to yourself, okay, well, what is this exactly telling us? if you look at it, it actually will go and do an analysis of a whole bunch of interesting stuff for you. Tools like this right here and other things that you can go and do will provide you more information about any target that you want to know about. So Netcraft is one of them. So in here, they should have something here. What is that site running? So if we went out to, in our case, let's just go out and look at cyberprotects.com. We can find out either whether or not a search DNS is going to be permitted to that host, cyberprotects.com. And if so, what information is going to come back whenever we do a poll of what exactly that site is running. So once we get the results back, we should see a list of information, and if there's any subdomains, they should be listed here as well. What's that? Bing. This looks like it's coming back. All right, so you can see here with this site, it pulled back some interesting information. It has March 2012, started a company in February 2012, so that makes sense to me. Here's all the keywords, a bunch of ampersands in there, amp. Weebly is magical. It's wonderful. It's got a nice WYSIWYG environment if you're ever interested in that. It's got this IP address right here. And here's the named server, and we're going to talk a little bit about that here in a second. This particular hosting environment, I paid a little bit more to have my personal information not published out here. But you can see that this is actually an Apache web server. We just gleaned right off of this right here. It goes in and it'll tell you a little bit about who can send email here. It tells you domain message authentication, what web trackers have spidered it. It has analytics, so Google Analytics is included on there. And it's beautiful. It tells you how many people come in every day. It uses jQuery for some drag and drop. So what could we gain from this intelligence that we're gathering here? All this stuff. I mean, this is the ubiquity of information. What could we gain from this? A lot of interesting information that's coming off of this simple search that, 2 minutes after we typed it in, now we have a little bit of intelligence, right? So now we're not just going after a person, and we're not looking to gather intelligence on a company, about that company. Now we're looking at the electronic target that this company has facing the world. In this particular case, the website. Linux base, yep. You can see IP address. I mean, really it gives you a bunch of good information here that could start us off on the right foot. And it gives us the entire site report for all the information that we could possibly ever want on here. So whenever you go through and start to do footprinting, think about that and go in and look at sites like netcraft.com.